Welcome to another episode of the State of the Bulldogs. Sam, Mike, Jeb, and Grant. Tonight's special guest, Christmas episode, A.D. Martin Newton, to talk about all the exciting things happening, including new football coach John Gross, new basketball coach
Lennie Acuff,
and everything else going on right now in basketball season. Martin, how are we?
Merry Christmas, guys. I'm doing great. That Sudafed's kicking in, isn't it, Sam?
Yes, it is. Not feeling too hot, but we're getting better. I'm not vibing quite like Jeb in the Santa hat, but we're almost there. It's not quite Christmas. I still got some time,
Close.
That's right.
I had to if it was going to be a Christmas week episode. So,
well, Martin, let's start with football, even though Lennie was hired first. But we'll start with football because that was the most recent, and then we'll get into the basketball season into Lennie. First, we just want to know what went into the initial process of, all right, so it's time to let Hatcher go. We're going to start finding a new coach. How does that look like for a school like Samford? Because we've seen it play out in all kinds of ways for bigger schools. So interested to hear how the process began.
Yeah, Coach had one year left on his contract, and he and I had always, he said, look, I've been down this road before, and he said, if things aren't going well, he said, I just want you to be upfront and honest with me. And I told him that the minute that Dr. Taylor and I made the decision, if we made the decision that we were going to go a different direction, the minute that decision was 100% made, that I would absolutely tell him. And so after our East Tennessee State homecoming game, Dr. Taylor and I talked and made the decision that we were going to go a different direction. And so I wanted to keep my word to Coach Hatcher. We had 2 games left in the season, but I felt like I told him that I was going to I'd let him know. And so I felt like I needed to keep my word. So that next day he came into the office. We had a conversation, and I just told him, look, I want to keep my word, and we're going to go a different direction at the end of the season. And he asked if he could have some time to kind of think about what he wanted to do, and decided that he couldn't give 110% the last 2 games of the season. So he made the decision at that point in time to go ahead and call it quits. And so, again, it was unfortunate, but I completely understood it. And I thought he had earned and deserved that right to be able to do that. It's never easy because, Sam, the reality of it is you're not just affecting one person, you're affecting their families, you're affecting other coaches and their families. And so it's they're tough decisions. They're hard decisions, but it's also part of this business.
And coaches that have been here for quite some time. That is probably what made it even tougher. All these people had real roots, which is rare even in this industry. All right, so decisions made. Then we always joke about Grant is our search firm on this podcast. So did you hire a search firm, and then what role do they play? Do you really use them, or is it more of a backup?
Yeah, it's a great question. I just paid attention to what you guys were saying, so I would look at y'all's, what y'all put out on social media. That's okay. This is it. No, I did not hire.
Thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Yeah,
that's all I needed here. Thank you.
That's the podcast.
That's it. Yeah,
Martin, I really thought I was onto something with at least like Philip Rivers or Freddie Kitchens, right? It looks like Philip went a different route. He tried to
yes.
Just a little bit,
right? So
well, I didn't listen to everything y'all said. Let me rephrase that. I didn't listen to everything y'all said.
I think you did like my tweet, though. You liked my tweet, so I thought I was onto something.
I did. No, it was good. But in all seriousness, I've never hired a search firm, and I just feel like maybe it's old school. I don't know. I just feel like that's the role of the athletics director, is to hire and fire coaches, and that's why. Sure. Now maybe that's. I understand why people hire search firms. They hire search firms to give you cover. There's this misnomer, this thought that you can't get turned down. And I think that's the craziest thing in the world. Is it's like, boy, you can't put offers out there and be turned down. That would look bad. And I'm like, no, it really wouldn't. You shoot for the moon. You try to get the best person you can. And I don't need the cover of a search firm. Now, a search firm, I think they can add some things to the search, especially as it relates to background checks and those type things. But at the end of the day, this business has gotten so goofy about. There are no secrets in this business. And this business has got so goofy about secrets. And then I also think ADs and presidents alike, use search firms to kind of CYA, right? At the end of the day, they can say, hey, the search firm, this is who they brought us. And so I just felt like this was my job. Corey Green and I had been talking throughout the course of the football season about, okay, let's watch some games just in case we have to go down this road. You always, as an athletics director, you always want to have 2 or 3 names that for every sport, whether it's football, basketball, baseball, soccer, you kind of want to have an idea of what's going to happen should either you have to make a change or they choose to leave you and go someplace else. And so Corey and I spent a lot of time really, putting some lists together, putting some people together. I think the first thing you've got to do is you got to be focused on what it is you're looking for. There's 1,000 names. You could get sidetracked with, hey, let's go hire the guy that's the offensive coordinator at Oregon. Boy, that'd be great. Well, the reality of it is, 1, does he fit? Probably not. 2, can you afford him? So we really focused on what our criteria was for hiring the coach. And then once we kind of honed on that, we had a list of probably about 20, 22 people that we really started doing some deep dives into and started looking at, okay, this is why this person would make sense. And this person, boy, they're really strong here, but maybe not so much here. And at the end of the day, for me anyway, it became really clear after I talked to John Gross, man, that's our guy. And then I had to just sit back at that point, keep my mouth shut, let Dr. Taylor, let Corey, let them kind of come to the same conclusion that I had come to. And it worked out just perfect.
And with Gross specifically, were you able to talk to Dabo beforehand, before he reached out, or did he reach out? How did that kind of go to where he kind of gave it?
So I did. So we had a conversation. Coach Gross and I had a conversation, and the very first phone call went very well. And then I was actually at the Central Arkansas game, and I got a call from Dabo, and the game was getting ready to start, hadn't quite started yet. And so I kind of snuck out into the hallway. The band's playing. I couldn't hear anything. He's going, he's, hey, this is Dabo Sweeney. And I'm like, I can't hear you. Who is this? And eventually we got to the point where we could, where I could hear him. And he just had all the things that he said were things that I already felt. And so it was kind of refreshing to hear it coming from somebody that I admire and respect as a person, and as a football coach. And for him to be able to say all those things, it was almost like he kind of knew and it wasn't scripted. He just kind of said it from the heart. And those were all the things that I'd already felt. And so it was a good conversation. But I've been around this business a long time, right? I mean, I spent 26 years at Nike and Converse, getting to rub elbows with the likes of, Michael Jordan and Pat Riley and Jerry West. And so I don't get too starstruck very often about those type things. We all put our pants on the same way. We're all, it doesn't matter who you are, what your title is. We're all the same.
Whatever you say.
Yeah. So, but I will say this: I do respect Dabo, and I respect because he knows Samford. He has a very look. I got a text message from Andy Reid. I got a text message from John Harbaugh. Phone call from Andy Reid, and it was like, I could have gotten starstruck about those things. I never returned either one of them because they didn't know Samford.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
And I'm not saying Samford is different from every other place, but Samford's different from every other place. And so it didn't really matter to me who this great coach over here was, because if they didn't fit and didn't understand what Samford was all about, I don't think it works.
No, Dabo did mention that he applied to coach at Samford at one point.
Yeah, he told me that.
Samford did not reply to him.
Yeah.
No, this would have been obviously
what could have
before
been
you, Martin, right? This would have been before your tenure, but
well, let me tell you what I told him.
That mistake. That's the
I don't know, but he did. But Jeb, he did mention that to me. He said, when we got fired at Alabama, he said, man, I really went hard after the Samford job and I couldn't get a return phone call. I said, well, Coach, I would have hired you in a heartbeat. And we started laughing about that. He said, I was a nobody. And I said, it wouldn't have mattered. You and I would have, we'd have clicked, man. We'd have been
that
great.
Would have been wild. I mean, my goodness. That was 2002?
Yeah, I think so. Around that time, he was at Tuscaloosa, right? What, in the early 2000s? Wasn't he on the, that's about the right time.
Yeah, I have some questions for Andy Reid if you can help me out. But What was it like kind of hearing from other people in that kind of sphere, people didn't expect to kind of hear from but throughout this process, like Dabo and others?
Yeah, again, it showed what this job could be, right? I mean, I was really surprised at the national interest in this job, and I said it at the press conference, but it was true. I mean, I got phone calls from those guys. I got phone calls from head coaches at other schools. I got phone calls from coordinators at Power 4 schools. I got phone calls from Division II, Division III, high school coaches. I mean, there was a lot of interest in this job, and again, for me, that's a testament to Dr. Taylor, because I think what people realize is what he's done for this university. The emphasis is he's put on the importance of sports. Look, there's not many athletic departments, especially at our level, that one of the pillars of the strategic plan is athletic success. And I think people know that. I think they recognize that. So to me, that goes to Dr. Taylor. I really believe that. And then there is name recognition here. You got Bobby Bowden that was here. You've got Jimbo Fisher was here. You got Terry Bowden that was here. You got Pat Sullivan that was here. So I think there are people that know that this could be a really good job.
Yeah. And it feels like, just hearing that and the changing landscape of the P4/G5, that the FCS may become some sort of like a safe harbor for guys that want a little bit more of what college football used to be. Still not what it used to be, because we're going to have the Montanas and the North Dakotas still hanging out in the FCS because they're not going to want any piece of the craziness of the Power 5, G5. But it feels like that was kind of feeding some of the interest, which was awesome to hear, because we want to think that FCS football is in a good spot, that Samford in particular is in a good spot. So always nice to hear that someone actually wanted to work, much less people from across the country.
Well, Sam, you're spot on. And that's exactly one of the lines I used with several people, and John Gross being one of them. I said, look, I know you're at the P4 right now, and I the resources that y'all have. And I said, but you also got a lot of craziness and a lot of headaches. You've also got things that are out of your control. I said, most people in athletics are control freaks, right? And I said, so, when you come back to the FCS level, or when you coach at this level, there is a sense of normalcy that does not exist right now in college athletics. And I think that's why there was some interest. I think you're spot on with that.
Well, I mean, we just watched Mike Jacobs take a D2 Lenore Ryan squad, flip them over to Mercer, win the SoCon back-to-back years, and now he's the head coach of Toledo, right? Yep. Toledo?
Yep.
So
Toledo
you can definitely – or Akron, one of the Ohio MAC schools.
Yeah, well, I think it's Toledo. I can't remember. I'm just glad he's out of the league.
I am too. I'm like, get out of here, baby. Get out of here.
I think I speak for like the rest of the pod, right? Obviously, but the rest of Samford fans is like, we need to be a Montana or North Dakota State in football.
All right, so Jeb, walk me through that and tell me, when you say that, what does that mean? We need to be a Montana or North Dakota State.
When I say that, I don't want my coach coming in, creating a good, building up the program and then leaving.
Yeah.
Now, if that does mean that like we get maybe still a great coach, because our program has been, continue to improve and become a top FCS program on a year-to-year basis, right?
Yeah.
Because I think right now, you look at, it does feel like we're still looking up at North Dakota State or South Dakota State or Montana or any of these teams, right?
Yeah.
So we want to be looking at them, right?
Yeah, no, exactly. I think that it's an uphill climb a little bit. I mean, if we just got our honest hats on, and I'll tell you why, especially for schools that are in the South. Montana State, South Dakota, North Dakota State, they have nobody else that they compete with. They are the big universities in those states. We're sitting here in Alabama with two of the biggest brands in college football. And not only that, within our own city, within 5 miles of each other, we have this other brand over the hill. So, and again, this is just me being real with you guys. I don't think people even knew Samford was Division I athletics until our men's basketball team went to the NCAA tournament, because FCS football at this level, it's not in this part of the country is not viewed the same.
No.
It's not it doesn't mean that we can't compete with them, that we can't be competitive. We can, but it's just a different dynamic. So we've got to figure out what our niche is and how we can do that and compete at that level once we get into the playoffs. But it starts with winning in the Southern Conference. We got to be winning Southern Conference championships and be competitive in the Southern Conference every year.
I mean, ironically, NIL may help us bridge that gap, not from our standpoint, but from the standpoint that North Dakota State, Montana State will get bled a little bit more, a little bit earlier.
Yeah.
So then you're only playing the really good sophomore as opposed to the really good junior. But that's hard to say. Yeah, I think we got hope, though. We got hope. We are, but because we are in the South, even though there are Troy, Jacksonville State, South Alabama, all these other schools, there's still plenty of football players to go around.
No doubt. But you know where it starts? It starts right in our own community. We've got to start recruiting. We've got to start recruiting our own community. We got to start that 45-minute radius around our campus, and then that expands out to an hour to 3 hours, and we've really got to start focusing on recruiting in that area.
Yeah, and to that point, when you talked with Gross about developing and getting high school kids, which we've seen less and less over the last couple of years, with Samford specifically gone portal, how much was that a factor when he's like, I want to build through high school, I want to do this? Because it felt like with the football team, the last few years we've done portal, and then this year's, okay, we needed to go in on freshmen, and when it maybe have been too little too late.
Yeah, the portal. So, I mean, it's so hit or miss, right? Because it's like, it's like speed dating. I mean, it's hard to pick a wife on speed dating. I've never been on these apps, but, swiping left and swiping all that kind of stuff, that's challenging, man. And so it's hit or miss. I mean, you just kind of hoping that you everything fits, the alignment, you don't get to know them through that process. So I think it's got to be a really nice balance of you got to start with a base of high school kids, which then means you've really got to develop kids. So that's why one of the things that we talked about, he talked about how important his staff was, and especially his strength and conditioning staff, his nutrition, all those things that, you may get a kid that he's 6'1", 250, but you're trying to get him to 6'1", 285 and get stronger and quicker and faster, or you're trying to take a kid that, maybe he plays defensive line in high school, but you're trying to move him to a linebacker and improve his speed. And so I think it's really important that you put the staff around him that he can have, and you give him what the resources he needs to develop. And then you go pick and choose out of the portal. All right. Maybe you have to go steal a quarterback out of the portal. Maybe you got to go steal a defensive back out of the portal, but you can't be portal heavy. Look, Coach Hatcher hit on it 2020. What was that? 23?
23? Yeah.
22. We hit on it, man. Yeah. I mean, it would hit. Everything just worked perfect. And even that year, think about the close games that we had that year.
Yes. Furman really bumps out the thank you, refs. Thank you, refs.
No doubt. Furman, Mercer, Southeast Louisiana. I mean, we had some games that were right down to the wire, and we won those games, but we hit on the portal that year. So I just think it's really important to start with your high school base, and I think Coach Gross feels that same philosophy as well.
We'll see how it develops, because one obvious challenge Hatcher had, and every FCS staff has had, is the turnover at the coordinator and position coach level. The fun thing Gross has done, and this may only work for the first stint, so we'll see how it develops, as I said, but he's gotten hungry, like assistant position coaches to come over from Clemson who need to prove themselves, who need to develop guys. So we get at least, you would think, a 2-season, maybe even 3 seasons out of a pretty much the same staff, which is exciting. Now, it may not work, but I think that the longevity of that, as short as it is enticing.
Oh, completely agree. And I think that's so important, is try to have some kind of consistency. Coach Hatcher never really had the opportunity to do that. One, he had to keep the staff that he had in there. So the first couple of years, he didn't have choice there. But then once he got his guys in, he brought in some good guys on the defensive side of the ball that ended up getting, pretty good job. So, but I think Coach Gross is he's going to develop. Look, he's been doing it a long time. He's been around. That's the great part about talking to him and people that you talk to. Guy knows everybody. It's like, it's crazy.
It seems that way.
It's like he knows every high school coach in the state. He knows that. So I'm excited about the future under this guy. I think he's going to be fantastic.
And to that point, I've never seen a coach had to go through 3 different coordinators, as Hatcher had to do this past year with Braithwaite moving and then promoting Cooper. Then he moves on. So, oh gosh, we need a DC right before spring break. Those are obviously things that were out of his control that you kind of had to things that would never happen before.
I mean, you have head coaches leaving to be position coaches in the Power Four. Like, it's just the money at the top now is insane for everyone, coaches and players. So that's just hard to compete against. And like I said, we'll probably see that continue, especially the better guys Gross hires as his tenure develops, the more the turnover. But you got to live with it.
Yeah, well, I'm excited. Like I said, I think he's putting together a good staff, and he seems to have a real good plan on how he wants to do it. And so, we'll see how it all plays out. It's a crazy business. It changes every week.
Oh, we forgot to mention the staff. If you just judged them on the last names and the lineage, it's like a Hall of Fame staff already. So it's like we got Bear Bryant's great-grandson on this staff. Like, come on. Come on.
Exactly. But you know what? You start going into high schools in the South with some of those names, and
we'll take it.
Yeah. And then what I'm hoping is some of those coaches, those dads that are part of it as well, that have done pretty well. Throw a little NIL money this way.
That's right. That's right.
Hurts, right.
A little bit goes a long way for a school like Samford.
I will say this. I had when Drew Sweeney and Paul Tyson and Andrew Zhao were first on campus, I had to have lunch. I got to have lunch with them over in the CAF one day. And man, I was, you talk about outstanding young men and the way they fit Samford. And it was fun to watch. It was really fun to watch. Good people. We're going to have some fun.
It's very exciting.
It is. Feels like a home run hire.
Well, it's just thanks to my search firm. What do I call? I mean, you guys can't be the state of the Bulldog search firm. We're gonna have to come up with something, right?
It's just Grant Gardner Incorporated. That's all it is.
Grant Gardner Incorporated.
That's
right.
Yeah. Well, when you got two right, it's kind of hard to come. No, I'm just kidding.
Or just GGs. GGs. That's a good search for me.
Don't hurt your shoulder. Pat yourself on the back there, Grant.
Let me stretch real quick. No.
We tell them that every day.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's switch over to basketball. I'm sure that's what the majority of our listeners are pining to hear. I hope Lennie skipped over the first 15 seconds of this, or else I'll never be able to live that down. Obviously, Coach Bucky leaving was expected at some point, not necessarily this season, but at some point. So we were somewhat emotionally prepared. And to be frank, this probably seemed like your biggest pressure hire because you had to build on the momentum that he had created. And kind of like Gross, it feels like a home run hire. You got a guy with local roots who seems to be a culture fit, who has a winning pedigree. Kind of talk about when Bucky first said he was going to hit the road to go to College Station, God bless his soul. And then how you went about looking for replacements.
Yeah, speaking of God rest his soul, I still, and I texted him right after it happened and just laughed. One of the funniest things to me was during his press conference where he and the president and the AD are hooked arms and they're swearing. And I'm like, oh my gosh, dude, do you understand the cult that
deep.
you just.
He's deep.
Yeah. Woo, I'd have had a hard time with that one, man. But I guess if they're paying me that kind of money, I would have locked arms as well. But
that's right.
No, I was so happy and proud of Bucky, man. Yeah, just grin and bear it. But I was so proud of Bucky and so happy for him, man. He and I, really the pressure hire was Bucky, to be quite honest with you, because if that one doesn't work, I'm probably calling you guys asking to join your search firm. And I told him that. I said, here's the reality of it, Bucky. I said, this is either going to work and you're going to move on and make a lot of money coaching in the SEC, or it's not going to work. And I'm going to be looking for a new job. But it worked. And it worked because Bucky's he's a winner. And same thing, I have the same feeling about Lennie. Lennie's just a winner. And he's, and it's not because he's won 600 plus games. It's just because of the person that he is and how he treats people. And Bucky was the same way. I mean, people gravitated towards Bucky. People gravitate towards Lennie. I mean, this campus, I can't tell you, it's amazing how many people talk. But yeah, I ran into Coach Acuff the other day. Man, what a great guy. And we did this and he called me about this. He's just a winner. And so I think that, good things, my dad used to say this all the time, good things happen to good people. And I can tell you Lennie's good people. So good things are going to happen to him. He's going to win. It's going to take him a while. Look, he had to put a brand new team together.
Yeah.
And that's tough, especially for somebody like Lennie, who's I'm not saying he's old school. He's not old school, but Lennie's used to, recruiting, developing, redshirting, developing, and then by the time these guys are 2-3 years in, man, they're a well-oiled machine. But he's going to win. I have no doubt about the fact that Lennie's going to win because he's just a winner.
Yeah. No, we know that there's going to be some growing pains this year. When it's one thing to be put in Bucky's situation with A&M's resources to go hunt the bottom of the barrel of the portal. It's another to be in Samford's position to do the exact same thing. So
this team, 3 days
they've
a month,
shown flashes.
They can. And so I would not put anything past this team. I really wouldn't, or past Lennie. But we'll see.
Yeah, there are some parallels we kind of put together between Lennie and Gross, kind of the same way. Both guys, both experienced, both guys a little bit older, ready to kind of settle down into a better job. Was that kind of like an added bonus, like saying like, okay, these guys want to stay here, want to stay at Samford rather than jump somewhere else? Was that kind of a bit main factor for choosing kind of those guys?
No, honestly, not really. I mean, I know it kind of seems that way, but the reality of it is, if you're successful in this career, and then that means that we're successful, right? So if they have success, that means that Samford's successful, and that people are going to want to pluck them, and I'm fine with that.
Right.
Better than the alternative if you're not successful and you're making changes because you got to fire somebody. So,
yes.
But I will say this: at my age and stage and where I am in my career, I wanted some stability. I wanted somebody, you guys have heard me say this, and I hate to do it again, but I'll do it. I've got 3 C's that I've always worked off: character, competency, and chemistry for hiring. And character-wise, I was really heavy at 65 years old and getting old. I'm just not going to put up with people that don't have good character. I'm too old to deal with the crap, so to speak. And so that was one of the most important things to me, is to find people that really had great character. And man, both of these guys have great character. Competency, they both have won. So I wasn't worried about that. They both have won. But the chemistry was a big deal too, because again, as you get to the end of your stage of your career, you really want to be around people that you enjoy being around. Like, I loved being around Bucky. Bucky was fun for me. Now, Bucky was high maintenance. I mean, his staff was high maintenance. Those dudes, Warren Fitzpatrick, I tried to kill that joker 100 times. I tried to fire him 30 times. I mean, those guys were high maintenance. But
what? No way. You serious?
Oh my God! Yeah. Poor Warren. He got called names, and no, I love Warren to death. That's the only reason I'll say this. But they were high maintenance, and that's part of it. But as I've gotten older, right now, I'm kind of looking at, look, I want to be around guys that I enjoy being around, that I don't have to deal with all that high maintenance part of it, right? That we can they know how they want to do things. They know how they want to schedule. They know how they want to recruit. And I can kind of just sit back and, hey, tell me what you need. Okay, let's focus on this and get out of their way and let them do their thing. So the chemistry was really important.
Yeah, so you're a basketball guy. Obviously, you probably had more of an inkling of who you wanted to hire from a basketball standpoint than a football one. But Lennie seems like an awesome fit. There were other coaches that also seemed like an awesome fit. So you talked about chemistry, you talked about culture fit, but what else about Lennie kind of separated him, or was that kind of it? Like, those two things really put him above?
I had an opportunity. And I told Lennie this when I first made a change, when I first got here. My gut feeling told me I should have hired Lennie Acuff, and I didn't. And then the whole Bucky thing kind of happened, and at that time, that was the perfect move. It was the right move. But I always knew that when Bucky left, if I had an opportunity to hire Lennie Acuff, I was going to hire. Now, I didn't think he would have any interest, to be honest with you, because we kind of went a different direction when he was in Alabama, Huntsville, and he was up at Lipscomb, and he's such a loyal guy, and he was doing a great job there. And I thought, I'm not sure we're going to get an opportunity to hire him again. But when I talked to him at the Final Four and realized that he was interested, I said, this is over. We can shut this one down. This is going to be the quickest. It's going to be the quickest deal that's ever happened. And it's exactly how it was. So it was, I go back to what I said earlier. You always want to have 1 or 2, 3 guys in your pocket that you're always going, if this changes, then this.
Right.
And that's exactly how it worked out with Lennie. It was like, man, if I get an opportunity again, I'm going to go beg him to come be our coach. And so I did, and it's worked out, and I think it's going to work out really good. I think he'll be at Samford a long time. I think he's going to win a lot of games. I think we're going to go back to the tournament, and I think we're going to have a lot of fun in the process doing it.
Yeah, and
I hope so.
As you said, you're in a great location too. Every coach is there at the Final Four of San Antonio. So, hey, let me just go meet you for coffee real quick and get you on the phone. I'm sure that helps.
It's exactly. It's funny because I couldn't sleep, so I woke up at 2 something in the morning. I go up to the concierge lounge in the hotel. Nobody's up there. I'm up there by myself, and I'm like, man, should I call him? No, I can't call him. It's 2:30. Should I text him? Nah, just wait a little while. So finally, at about 5:15 in the morning, I couldn't wait anymore.
Oh my goodness!
And I just texted him. I said, hey, you around? Or I said, are you up? And I get a text message back like this. Yes. I said, you got time to get together and visit? And he said, well, I've got this, and this, but I'm open. And man, it was like 11 o'clock. He and I are meeting in a little hidden ballroom in the hotel. And 30 minutes later, from my vantage point, it was over. Now, I still look, this is what I love about Dr. Taylor. He is involved in the process. He wants to be involved in the process. And once he got involved and he met Lennie and talked to Lennie, then I knew it was over. So it was quick.
It is awesome to have his support like this. Oh. I mean, it is. You always hear alignment. Well, we're watching misalignment at several universities play out. And we're watching alignment in this university play out, and it is night and day. What were we going to say, Grant?
Especially with the basketball hire, was it like having Corey Green, a guy who played basketball at Samford, a guy who's been at this school a couple of years, knows what you're looking for? How important was that to bounce ideas off of him for both searches, really?
Yeah, Corey's just look. We're kind of yin and yang it good, right? Like I'm the left brain, he's the right brain. I'll get off on a tangent and go in 1,000 different places, and Corey will go, all right, well, stop. Let's get it back to center. All right, I've listened to you go off on your rant. I've listened to all this bull crap that you're spinning over here. Now let's get it back into the center here of what really matters. And he centers me, and I think that's really important. You've got to have some, and he's a truth teller. Corey will tell you the truth. He's not going to tell you what he thinks you want to hear, and that was really important. And so I think the other good part about having Corey in this process is he learned so much. He was eager to learn. He didn't come into it thinking that he had all the answers. And so he's a tremendous listener. He spent more time listening, whereas, as you can tell on this podcast, I spend more time talking. Corey spends more time listening, and you learn so much from listening. And so he then would, okay, well, this is what I heard. And I was going, boy, I didn't pick up on that. That's good. So he was a tremendous asset through this whole process.
Martin, you're our guest. So we're all here for you. So you can absolutely talk as much as you want to, because you're the one. No one wants to hear us.
No.
I could argue no one wants to hear me either. So
we are. Anyway, it's fantastic to have you on the podcast. So.
I love it, man. I had to beg.
We should have all.
I had to beg Grant to be on the podcast. I was like, dude, you got Beck, you got Bucky. I mean, you got all these people. Did I hurt your feelings? Did I make you mad?
On almost a weekly basis, we'd say we got to get Martin back on.
Yes. We should have had you on right when the Bucky news hit. Because, I mean, how quickly was Lennie hired? It was, 2 weeks?
No.
3 weeks?
He was hired about a day and a half.
Oh,
yeah.
Wow.
I'm at the Final Four. Yeah, no, I'm in San Antonio at the Final Four. I talked to in fact, my wife and I were walking on the Riverwalk when their AD called me. Bucky calls me and said, look, man, I think I'm in the mix on this thing. And so I'm literally doing a tour with the local organizing committee in the San Antonio with the basketball committee. We're doing the tour. They're showing us locker rooms. They're kind of showing us all the stuff behind the scenes. And I get a call from the search firm. And the guy goes, hey, you got a minute to talk about this. So I kind of back off the tour, and I'm talking to him. And he says, well, what do you think? I said, I think y'all are nuts if you don't hire the guy. He goes, you're kidding me. You're his coach. Why would you? I said, I'm just telling you right now, he's gonna make Trevor look like he knows what the heck he's doing. I said, you'd be crazy not to hire the guy. I said, I don't want to lose him. I said, if he's going to do what's best for me, he stays. If he's going to do what's best for him, he goes. I said, the guy's unbelievable. What y'all need, because I knew Buzz Williams didn't build community like Bucky can build community. Nobody's better at building community like that than Bucky McMillan. And I said, that's what he's going to give you. And so later that day, my wife and I are walking on the Riverwalk, and I get a phone call from the Texas A&M AD. And he goes, just tell me about Bucky. And 15 minutes later, I could tell, this is done. This deal's over. As long as the agents don't screw it up, this thing's over. And so then I immediately shift into, okay, I got all this basketball committee stuff I'm supposed to be doing. We're supposed to be going to this salute dinner and this concert and all this kind of stuff for CBS. And I'm going, I got to hire a basketball coach. And it was literally 72 hours later, and it was done.
Okay, I didn't realize it was that soon. That's
Now
amazing.
it took us a while we had to, you still gotta go through the process of background checks and all that kind of stuff. It may not have been announced for another week or two, but it was the actual deal was done in 72 hours.
Okay, that makes a little more sense.
We could have,
makes a little more sense.
if we had known that, we could have made some T-shirts or something. Hold on. You don't even know what I'm going to say, Sam.
Jeff, you just cracked me up.
No,
whatever thought is about to come out is going to be fun.
It's going to happen. Yeah, go ahead.
The T-shirt says, "Hey, you up?"
And only Martin and Lennie would have bought that T-shirt.
We would have been the only ones that know. I have to pull this up now. I got to go pull that text message out. That's too funny.
Jeb, I don't think we could put a Samford logo on that. Just going to throw it out there.
If we put our honest hats back on, one big component of Bucky's success was our dipping the toes in the NIL space, which, frankly, allowed us to compete at the top of the SoCon. What does that look like in all sports going forward? Because it seems like we're starting to settle into what the new normal is. Some programs are shying pretty far away from it, and we're kind of seeing the results of that play out. Some schools are leaning hard into it at our level. Kind of what is Samford's? What's the athletic department's approach now that we kind of know what the new normal looks like for at least, I don't know, the next few years?
Well, the problem is I don't think we do. I think I don't think anybody knows what the new normal is, because I think it changes. Good Lord, I get email after email from Charlie Baker with the NCAA about, this is supposed to happen today. The House settlement.
I didn't know he was still employed, but yes.
Oh yeah. Bless his heart, he's trying. But I think what everybody's trying to do right now is really kind of figure out what fits for your institution, and then look at the broader picture of, okay, what fits within the Southern Conference. When Bucky got here, our goal was, let's turn this thing into a mid-major power in basketball. Why not? Why can't we be a really good top 50 mid-major program every year? And then I think and I'm convinced, had NIL and the transfer portal not hit, we would have done that. There's no doubt in my mind we would have done that. And then that hit, and you had to shift a little bit. And now what I think your focus has to be in is, okay, how does Samford, in with all the challenges that we've got, and look, we're blessed. The university's good to us on a lot of things, but we have to raise a lot of money for operating expenses and revenue share and all those things. How can we do all of those things that we needed to be competitive? Because we've been competitive in all of our sports, right? We win Commissioner's Cups and German Cups, and that's important. But the reality of it is, you finish where you fund. And so if you're going to fund we funded those sports. Women's soccer is funded where they should win. Volleyball is funded where they should win. Basketball was the one sport that was never funded where they should win until Bucky got here. And that was one where I just thank God Beck was there, or we would never been funded to that level. But Beck wanted to be good. He saw the vision, and that's when Beck said, okay, what do we got to do to get it there? And he stepped up. And so now we have to step back and go, okay, we really need to look at what moves the needle and where we're getting our best return on investment. And treat it like a business, because that's what it is. It's a business. How can we get our best return on investment? And that makes for some tough decisions. And so the decision may not be to try to be a top 50 basketball program in the country. Maybe it's now, how do we compete and make sure that we're winning championships every year so that we get to the NCAA tournament in basketball? Sure. Probably not going to happen every year, but can you do it every 2 to 3 years? And same thing with football. Football is an important driver. How do we get back to where football is competitive and we're competing for league championships and finishing in the top 3 of the league every year? And so those are the decisions that we've got to make. And now we got to figure out, you can't be everything to everybody. You just can't. So now we got to figure out, how do we do those with the resources that we have? And that's the challenge. That's the challenge.
Do you think sports are going to, some sports will just be cut? Not necessarily from Samford, but from just the NCAA in general? Or do you think they just they'll be funded at the minimum level?
No, I think what will happen is my approach has always been because I came up, I didn't come up in the athletics world, right? I came up in the private sector, in the business world, and in the business world, it was you eat what you kill, right? And so if you wanted to be successful at Nike, it was all about driving stock. It was all about, so we weren't worried about hurting people's feelings. I mean, that
Right.
just, you eat what you kill. And college athletics, from a pure business standpoint, may be the worst model there is, because the only sports that you have any shot of a return on investment is football and men's basketball. That's I don't care what level you're at. It's definitely true at the Power Four level. Greg Byrne has said this a million times. I got 2 sports making money, and I've got 19 that are losing money that I'm having to fund through these 2 sports. That's a fact. That's not a feeling. That is a fact. And so, from just a pure business stance, it's not a great business model. So now you have to come back and say, look, I have no problem this sport or this sport. If you want to go out and fundraise and do whatever you have to do, I'm just not going to be able to take corporate sponsorship dollars or ticket sales dollars or donor dollars here and supplement your budget. You're going to have to go eat what you kill. And I think that's really important. And that's a shift. That's hard. But we're going to help them. We're going to come alongside them and help them. But that's a shift, and that'll be a tough conversation and a tough. But I still think we're in a position where we can do that.
How much is the state, like college athletics is? How much has that changed your job over the last 4 or 5 years? Changed your kind of day to day, if at all?
You know what has really changed for me is you don't know the kids as well, because they're in and out. I mean, we have new kids in the building all the time, and I go, God, I should know that person, and I don't know they are. I mean, and that's the frustrating part for me. The relationship piece, it's become so much more transactional, and that's not been fun. I came to Samford. Look, I was at Kentucky where it was all transactional. Look, I love John Wall and DeMarcus Cousins and Eric Bledsoe's and those guys. We had a good time, but that was all about get me to the league. Get me to the league. What have I got to do to get to the league? And so I came to Samford after meeting somebody like Jeremy Towns and said, oh man, this is what this place is all about. This is all about relationships. And that part has shifted and changed. Now you can still do it, and you have to do it. It's just a lot more challenging. You've got to be a lot more intentional about it. And I'm not saying unfortunately, because I think it's fortunate for Samford, but being on the basketball committee takes a lot of my time and pulls me to do other things that I may not that I normally would have used to kind of delve in and make those relationships with our kids.
No, I'm not saying Samford would do this ever. It's not in Samford's character to do something like this, but Georgia sued recently, I guess, sued a player who transferred from Georgia football. I think he was an edge guy. I forgot his name. Even things like that are kind of changing in the landscape right now, where you have a kid that took some NIL money at Georgia. He ends up transferring, and now he's being sued for, I think, 3 or 4 times the amount that he even took, because he didn't stay at the school. And so now there are actual real world repercussions for kids. It's not fun and games, right? I mean, it's real contracts and real money, right? And so it's no longer just playing football or basketball or whatever at a school.
Be careful what you wish for, right? I mean, look, the reality of it is a lot of these coaches, they're not even dealing with the kids anymore. They're dealing with an agent. And so they're signing these contracts with the agents. Well, guys, that's a business deal. That has nothing to do with feelings anymore. It is what it is. This is a business deal now. And so we're not seeing that yet, but that doesn't mean that we won't.
If we ever have to see that at on the FCS football level or even the Samford basketball level, every player, I get in basketball if there's 1 or 2 cats, right?
Yeah.
But my goodness, that'll be insane.
Yeah. It's coming. I mean, it's coming. If you want to be competitive, if you want to win, it's coming.
You touched on already with being involved in the NCAA committee. You're going to chair the committee next year. Be the head of that. What has that kind of been like, the process of getting ready for that as you've been on the committee the last couple of years? What's it going to be like?
It's like taking a big old fire hose and sticking it right in your face. No, it is going to be so much fun. I just, I'm the co-chair this year. I think this year is going to be the craziest because as the co-chair, you're also, or excuse me, the vice chair, not the co-chair. As the vice chair, you're on the men's basketball oversight committee as well. You represent the men's basketball oversight committee as well. And so that's another meeting every week and conversations every week. And that group deals more with the legislative process and applications to rules and all those type things. And so it's just a lot of work. Next year, actually, I just got back this past week. We did the logo launch for Detroit. The Final Four in 2027 will be in Detroit. And we had the logo launch at Ford Field, and that was really cool. I got to be on a panel myself, Tom Izzo, Danny Gavitt, who's the vice president of basketball, and it's a lot of fun. We had a good time, and so getting, learning to speak in front of the media and all those kind of. I'm going to be the guy that you guys are going to be cussing a year from now when your team doesn't get in or isn't seated where they're supposed to be, and I'm good with that. That you got to make peace, but it's a lot of work if you're going to do it right, and I take a lot of pride in it. Danny Gavitt said something at the logo launch that I knew, but I really hadn't thought about. But he told the media, because there was about 140 media people there, and it was kind of surreal. You got all these cameras flicking and taking pictures and everything. But he made a statement. He said, Martin and his father are the only father-son combination that have ever chaired the men's basketball committee. And man, when I kind of heard that, I kind of stepped back and thought, I'm getting to do something that my hero got to do. This is pretty cool. And so it kind of hit me that the how big this is. And so I'm going to take it serious, and I'm going to try to do a good job while still trying to do a good job at Samford and being the athletics director. I just thankful I got a lot of really good people around me. And I've got a search firm like you guys that can take care of me if I've got to hire another coach.
Yeah, you talked about fans. I can hear a Florida fan now. Well, he's got Kentucky roots. How is Kentucky a 1 seed, not 2? Like, it's going to happen. Like, that's there's no way it's going to go. Yeah.
Yeah, there's no doubt. I'm going to get killed, which is great. I love it. I got no problem with it.
How's Texas A&M at 12? Had Texas A&M before. He had Bucky. Like,
Texas A&M. They're 10-20. How'd they get in the tournament?
Yeah, it's like, they're not dating. What the heck? What's going on? It's like, because he had Bucky as the whole thing. Yeah.
I tell you what's going to be crazy, man. I was Joanne Scott, who's I've known Jo. We worked together at Nike. She's the vice president or the assistant vice president at the NCAA men's basketball. She's wonderful. We did our schedules together for so I literally will go from the selection week, and I'll leave that Monday and go to Dayton, and then I'll go from Dayton to Atlanta and be in studio the first weekend, and then the Sweet 16 and the Elite 8, I literally go from Houston to DC to San Francisco to Chicago. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. There's one day, Saturday, I take a flight at 7 o'clock in the morning from DC to San Francisco, and then that night take the red eye from San Francisco to Chicago.
Man. That's terrible.
And I'm already tired.
That's terrible. I mean, we don't feel bad for you, but that is still terrible.
Yeah, that's what my son said. He said, nobody's going to feel sorry for you, man.
No, I mean, you have a sweet
You
job,
got courtside seats. Nobody's worried about it.
You feel tired thinking about it.
Sleep in May.
Yeah, are there schools you have to go to throughout the year before you get to even beating to get the bracket together? Are there places you have to go throughout the year?
No. So what we do is each committee member has conferences that they monitor, and so I'm supposed to be the expert on those conferences, and so I've got 3 conferences that I'm the primary and 2 conferences that I'm the secondary with another committee member, and my job is to really know. So I watch a lot of games. I've got Synergy on my computer. I watch those conferences. I'll watch those teams play over and over and over again. And just really make sure that I know what's going on in that league. And then we have monthly calls. As we get into January, February, and March, we'll actually have bi-monthly calls with the commissioners and the basketball people within those leagues that we kind of go through. We get their feedback. We want to know a lot of stuff about injuries. Okay, this team, I saw they lost 3 games. What happened? This key player was out. Is he coming back? And so it's really we have to make sure that we're the expert in the rooms when it comes to those leagues. And I go to games. I enjoy go to games. So I'll catch. The lucky thing is I've got the SEC. So I'll see Alabama. I'll go see Auburn. I'll see different teams come through there. I've been to Kentucky already this year to see my daughter and watch them play against Purdue earlier in the year. So yeah, I enjoy. I enjoy going to the games.
Yeah, that's just like an interesting process the way you kind of build out. How does each committee member do it? But it's good to know that you have certain set of conferences. Okay, we need to focus on these. And once we get in the room, we can decide, hey, we can go to this person for this conference or this team.
Yeah, by the time we get in the selection room, the majority of the heavy lifting's been done. I mean, we spend countless hours from November to March evaluating teams, and I've got a spreadsheet that I put together with all these metrics, the different metrics, and I rank them and rate them, and I move teams, and I do it every Sunday. I'll spend a couple of hours every Sunday doing that, and then spend some time throughout the week doing that, so that by the time I get in that room, I really know kind of what my bracket looks like, and then it's just a matter of we have deliberations and discussions, but most of the heavy lifting's already done by the time we get in there. So
okay.
It's fun
the
stuff.
Joke with the
That's such a cool job.
Yeah.
Yeah, the joke with the college football playoff committee is like they go to these meetings, go have these like kind of spreads lunches. What's like the lunch and dinner situation when we go into the committee room before that?
They got a tough job, man. I look, first of all, I mean, just having 12 teams and having to take well, I'm not going to get into it. They have to do what they have to do, right?
I mean, they leave their hats at the door, though. They do that.
Yeah, well, it's challenging. It's challenging. That process. The thing that we've got an advantage on is that the tournament, the committee. We've had a committee for a long time, so a lot of the steps and the processes and the policies are in place. That as long as you'll do your job, you're not going to screw it up too bad, right? Now you're going to hit or miss. You're not always going to get it perfect. I think we got it pretty freaking good last year, if truth be known.
100%.
You look at the seeding. You could argue West Virginia, North Carolina. You can make that argument on anybody. But at the end of the day, I think we got it pretty good last year.
Yeah, last year was awesome.
One thing that Sam and I will go back and forth on, on the pod, just when random times, is Sam believes that college basketball will end up like college football has, where we're not. We don't have the traditional tournament and the committee, the selection committee, and all that, and it becomes more. I don't know if privatized is the right word, but it becomes more segmented from the governing body of the NCAA, and more of its private tournament thing, where like the college football playoff, right? For example, so where do you see basketball going with Sam?
I think right now
I'm a pessimist.
Sam's wrong.
No. Sam's wrong. No. Well, I think right now football and basketball are so different sports, right? I mean, there's no way a Samford can go compete with Alabama in football. There's no way. But you know what? There's a way that Samford can compete with Alabama in basketball, right? May not be able to beat them, but 2 out of 10 times. But those 2 times you can beat them. There's no way that happens in football ever. And so I think that Cinderella part of the tournament is important early. Plus the other thing I think is that I know is that we got a television contract with CBS through 2032. And so I don't think there's any way that you could split and privatize that at the point. The only way that happens is if the group of the Power Four just finally says, you know what, enough is enough. We're going to go do our own thing, and they pull their teams out and they go try to do their own tournament. And that could happen. I mean, there's some other media outlets out there that would pay a lot of money for that tournament. I hope that doesn't happen, because I think if it does, I think short term it would really hurt a lot of those. I think there would be people that would just say, well, this is the NBA, or this, I don't need this. And so the Cinderella piece is still really important to the men's basketball tournament. In the early rounds, the Cinderella piece so much in the late rounds is not necessarily. Look, the reality of it is television wants those blue bloods in there in the late rounds. But we don't even think about that as a committee. What we're trying to do from a committee standpoint is we've got to try to figure out this. We've got to pick 31. We just want to make sure we're picking. There's 31 AQs, but we want to make sure we're picking the best 37 teams. And if those happen to be mid majors, it's getting tougher and tougher. But if they happen to be mid majors, so be it, because that means they have an opportunity to go win a game in that tournament. And I don't think any of us thought that neither Tulane nor James Madison had any shot at winning a game in the college football.
No.
Yeah.
No. Basketball is it's just a very different sport.
Very different.
Because do you think of a school like Georgetown? That's technically a mid-major now, which is crazy. But I mean, they'll always have the resources if they actually want to
No doubt.
compete at the highest level. So hopefully basketball retains its core identity, but Jeb is more hopeful than I am. I'm like, it's going to all get destroyed before we have to rebuild it. So
my argument is that the Cinderella aspect is what holds it all together.
And I agree. I just don't think that the
it.
other schools care enough to keep it together for that sake. The viewers, because like we're already getting kind of screwed out of our college football childhood, where you had the App State beat the Michigan. Like that is never going to happen again. Mm-hmm. The Boise State is never going to beat the Oklahoma again. Well, maybe this Oklahoma, but it's just a different era.
That's what it's all about, though.
I know.
That's what it's all about to me.
I know. Game day needed to go to Fair State at least one time in the last 2 years, and they didn't. It's like things like that. They just don't happen.
Even seeing Loyola Chicago in the Final Four is awesome.
And I still think those things can happen in basketball. I really do.
That can,
Because here's the reality. The Power Four, and it depends on what happens with this whole house settlement, but right now we're only supposed to be spending $22 million or whatever. Well, Kentucky's basketball roster is $22 million. So if we ever get this thing passed, they're not going to be able to spend that kind of money. The majority of that money, 75 to 80% of it, 85% of it's going to go to football. So now all of a sudden that basketball playing field is a little bit more level. If you're only spending $4 or $5 million on a basketball program, there's a lot of mid-majors. There's a lot of A-10 schools, a lot of Mountain West schools, West Coast Conference schools that'll spend that kind of money. Who knows? Samford, we may have somebody step up and give us couple $3 million. Next thing you know, we're throwing that into NIL. Now all of a sudden you can buy yourself a pretty good team that you could compete in that tournament with the big boys.
But the problem is even if the money in the front door gets lowered, that just means the money in the back door is going up. So I mean, I don't know. I think the whole thing is toast, but maybe my sons will be able to enjoy some semblance of what we've enjoyed for 30 years.
We have some Chick-fil-A. One of the sons from from Dan Cathy's son went to.
Yeah, there's some Chick-fil-A money at Sanford.
I don't know where
they need to sprinkle a little bit heavier in the athletic department.
Chick-fil-A money coming in.
I think the state of the Bulldogs money, as much money as you guys are making on these podcasts, man, I think a percentage of it needs to go to your alma mater.
We would love nothing more than to give our precious dollar away.
I think I've said it on
dollar.
I think
get you a Coke.
I've been on the record, if I somehow become a billionaire or do something, it's going there. It's going to Samford.
Jeb, I knew I liked you. You're a glass half full kind of guy. I'm starting to think that Sam may be that
3/4 full.
3/4 full. I like that. Sam, I'm starting to think that maybe it's just the sickness, maybe it's the flu, but you're kind of a glass half empty.
Depends on the day, depends on the sport, depends on the team. Sanford's always glass half full, but NCAA glass empty, not even half empty, just empty.
Maybe that's why we're good friends. Michael is the one who's definitely glass half empty.
He's a realist. Sometimes we have to convince him that the win was good, but
Michael's not even good, man. We're calling him out right now. So.
Poor Michael.
Yeah, poor Mike. One more thing on the Sanford front, Martin. What was it like getting those contracts done with UAB for basketball, women's basketball? Just played UAB
yes.
The other day. What was it like getting that done? A series done for football and basketball, getting that on the schedule.
Long overdue. I'm grateful to the folks at UAB and that they finally, we kind of said, hey, let's move this thing forward. It makes sense. I think it's going to be great for our community. I think it'll give us both something to cheer for and create a rival. We're playing each other in every other sport. And the Bulldogs hold their own. I know women's basketball fell to UAB yesterday, but we're holding our own, man. It's and in some cases beyond holding our own. So I think it's going to be great. I think it gives us an opportunity to play another money game in football where we don't have to travel. So the net, whatever it is that we get for that game, it's a net revenue that goes right to the coffers. You don't have to worry about planes or hotels or anything. So I think that's good. But I think it's going to be good for the community. I really do. I think you got to have somebody that you hate. And I know UAB may not look at us as a rival, but you know what? You got to have somebody that you don't like and that you want to kick their tail, and vice versa. So I think it's going to be fun. I think it's going to be good. I'm appreciative to AK for doing it as well. AK didn't have to do that, but yet he chose to do it. So I appreciate him as well.
Yeah, at least we get a year off from having to go to Waco or College Station. It's like we don't need to do
yeah, no kidding.
2 of those in 1 year is just a killer.
Yeah.
I mean, not for the budget, but for the players. But
yeah, well, welcome to the rev share, right? I mean, that's one way to make revenue. A way to make revenue. So
on the UAB front, completely agree. I mean, baseball's kind of already turned into a little bit of a rivalry. So we'll be excited. I'm sure basketball could turn into one. I don't think UAB is going to want football to turn into one, but I certainly believe it could turn into one. So excited. I mean, that was just, it felt like we got 2 things we've wanted for a really long time all at once. Yeah. And that was awesome.
Yeah. Just wish we could have done it earlier, but you know what? We got it done.
Yeah. Even like the rev share point, you've seen college basketball teams this year. We're going to play neutral site, but it's an hour away from campus, but we get money for it. So that's a big reason why you're seeing that's going to be on the resume too. You get those neutral site games that like Oklahoma and Oklahoma State are playing at Tulsa. So we couldn't just play at one that you guys played, but no, we need to go to this neutral site and play some money games. But
well, we're all going to have to figure out ways to get creative, right? I mean, there's man, I worry about the sustainability a lot of this. So we're all going to have to figure out ways to get creative. We can't keep going back to donors and people hitting them up for things, but so we got to get creative.
Yeah,
game guarantees are one way to do it.
Hopefully everybody has to get creative.
The mixed use development or the commercial development across the street, I guess that fell through, right? We talked back about this, but things like that, right, where you're kind of transforming Lakeshore into an area where someone can, go to a restaurant, bar, whatever it is, near campus, across the street, shopping, other things that kind of brings foot traffic, people around, so that sometimes that can have a better effect on like your numbers of for ticket sales at games, or spending a night out in the evening in Birmingham, go and watch a Samford game, right?
Yeah,
something like that. So it sounds like that's. Obviously,
was any of that
through, hopefully?
Would any of that have impacted athletics? The school's a little greedy, they like to fund their nice new dorms and their programs and whatnot.
Here's what I would say: don't ever count Dr. Taylor out, right? I think it's been put on hold. I don't think it is going to fall through. I completely see that happening at some point. It just makes too much sense. It makes too much sense for the city, from a tax revenue standpoint, and look, we're one of, if not the largest employer in the city of Homewood. We spend a lot of tax dollars in the city of Homewood. So, I mean, you think about family weekends and graduations and all the people that come into this city and stay in Homewood and spend money in Homewood, our students that live there. If we grow to 7,500 students, that money's the majority of that money, a lot of that money is going right back into the city of Homewood. So I don't think that's a dead project at all. And I think knowing Dr. Taylor, again, he wants to be excellent in everything we do. So if we're going to do it, if we're going to play it, if we're going to teach it, if we're going to sing it, we're going to be excellent in everything that we do. And so, I think some of that revenue would come right into athletics to make sure that we continue to have athletic success.
Even Beck told us, like, I have to remind them, it's like, we were there first. So we were like, it's like you need to, that's part of the relationship, to try to find a way to get stuff done.
Yep, absolutely. Well, and that's what it is. It's a relationship. We're proud to be a Homewood's team, man. We're proud to be in Homewood. And I think Homewood's proud to have Samford there. I think we've got to expose ourselves more to the Homewood community. I think we've got to make sure that we're welcoming them on our campus. And if that means playing, we're gonna have a basketball tournament. Homewood High School's having a basketball tournament right after Christmas on our campus in the Pete Hanna Center. I'd love to play a football game, Homewood High School football game every year in our stadium. I mean, we've got to make sure that we're bringing Homewood to our campus and letting them feel that same pride that we all have in our campus. I've always said, once you get people on our campus, they're hooked. And so we got to make sure we get the Homewood community on our campus as well.
Yeah, and hopefully Lennie and Gross could be a big help in that too. Like you mentioned, and Beck mentioned with us, it's all they all work together.
Absolutely they do. Absolutely they do. Look, I don't know, you guys know this, and I'm not just saying this because he's my boss, because I've got I don't have many years left, right? But now, if I was in my 40s or 50s, I may say it for a different reason. But I'm saying this because I believe it. And you guys as alums, I don't know if y'all realize how lucky we are to have Dr. Taylor leading our university. His vision of what he wants to do for our university, beyond athletics, man, it feels good as an alum. I'm sitting here going, we're in good shape, man. This is going to be something. My grandkids are going to be fired up about this. I mean, we are in good shape because of his leadership. He's got an unbelievable vision. If he was not running a university, he would be a Fortune 500 CEO. There's no doubt in my mind he's that good.
Yeah, the vision is so important because it's one of the, I mean, coaches say it all the time, be better than you think you can be. And he's living that out. Like, he's pushing this university further than I think any of us thought when we graduated Samford would be. Right. It's not just some sleepy little Baptist school in Homewood.
That's right. And it scares some people, and that's okay. That's all right, man.
Well, hey, when they introduced dancing onto campus, that scared some people too. So
yeah.
No, he's fantastic.
He is. We're lucky, man. We're really lucky. And again, I've already signed my contract extension, so I'm not saying it to try to get a contract extension.
Well, don't go anywhere either, Martin.
Yeah. Do you have business cards with the vice president for intercollegiate athletics, or is that to stay?
No, I don't. I still hadn't got. Somebody said that the other day about being a vice president, and I said, I'm the athletics director. I'm not a vice president. That's what academic people do. I'm just that little dumb, lowly guy over here on the athletic side of the house. But no, I appreciate that more than you know. I mean, again, that's something he didn't have to do, and we've got a good relationship, good working relationship.
And I did look it up. You do join Bucky as the second time to be on the podcast, so you do have that going. So
all right, good. I was, I'm gonna be straight up. I was starting to get my feelings hurt. I was like, I must have done something to piss these guys off.
You have an open invite. You see Grant plenty, so. Right. You keep letting them know anytime you want to hop on.
What I need to start doing is when we have some important news, I need to kind of like we had a guy in Kentucky that we did this with, and now he's turned big time. A guy named Matt Jones. Okay. Cal used to, we would kind of leak information to Matt before stuff would come out. That's what I need to do with you guys and start leaking stuff on the state of the Bulldogs before it comes out.
You said it, not
me.
Well, we appreciate it.
I think Grant's already got an access. He's like, I keep looking at my phone going, does he have this thing bugged or something?
Grant has the office bugged for sure.
Yeah. I think he does.
So while we're recording, will there be a 12th football game?
Well, I appreciate you guys, man. I really do appreciate you. You loving Samford, but also being truthful about Samford too, man. When we're screwing up, not doing what we're supposed to do, call us out. We need to know. Not me, call everybody else out.
That's just Sam. Sam's the one calling people.
That's
out,
right.
So
No, we're gonna get you glass half full, Sam. That's gonna be my goal before I get out of here.
Well, you're doing a great job just with your hire in the softball program.
Yeah.
Baseball's rolling. I mean, come spring, I'm like I'm the spring chicken. I'm like ready to roll. Like Samford's going to win it all. And so hopefully fall is the same vibe. Fall's the same vibe.
We're gonna get there,
Martin. We appreciate it. Like we said, feels like 2 home run hires. I really think that's the case. We don't necessarily want you to keep having to make home run hires, but if it's in the case like Bucky, hey, we're fine with those kinds of situations. But we appreciate it. It's awesome that you're on the stage, that you are representing Samford at the NCAA. So just appreciate your work.
I appreciate you guys, man. I really do. And again, like I said, you guys keep being truth tellers out there and have fun. Don't hesitate to call if I can do anything for you.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right, fellas. Appreciate you, man. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
All right. See you.